Hi everybody, Christina L. Barr here, and for those of you that don't know, I'm the founder of Ninja Dust Publishing, and Ninja Dust Publishing is an indie publishing company that houses 9 books at the moment, which all 9 are created by myself. So, I am obviously an indie author, and I have this very insane but very realistic, because I'm insane, goal of completing 30 books by the time I am 30 years old. So right now I'm 26 and I have, like I said, 9 published books, but I have 14 that are all the way completed. And one is like a children's picture book that I actually wrote in high school, and the others are all middle grade, young / new adult novels. And so if you're doing the math, it's a lot to do, considering I only have about half done in this short amount of time. But I know I can get it done. The goal is to, I have more than enough ideas. I get ideas like on a whim. I was sitting at a comic book convention with my sister, and there was someone dressed as an umbrella corporation person, and they were walking past the table, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if there's this, in the future, the government took your children and did X, Y, and Z. And she's like, did you just get that from that? I'm like, yeah. And I don't know, I'm just like an inspiration sponge. So I have more than enough ideas. I have a plan actually plotted out of what I'd like to do that can get me to 30 books. But not all of them are probably going to be novels, just realistically for time. Like my children's book, Super Kid, it's a middle grade novel, and I plan on maybe doing some picture books for younger kids who are like attracted, all googly eyed to Super Kid, but when they pick it up and they see that there's like only a few pictures, and they give you that look like, don't you know what this is supposed to be? And so for those kids out there, I will accommodate you. So with that in mind, I know I can meet my goal. When I first wrote my first novel, Superficial, which is actually not published at the moment, the plan is to get that out in 2016, so stay alert for that. When I wrote that, it was in 6 months, so that's about still, so that was like my average, about 6 months. Sometimes life gets in the way, sometimes other novels get in the way, and you just kind of bounce from one inspiration to another, or you write multiple ones at the same time. The fastest one I wrote was The Color of God's Eyes. I wrote that last January, as in it only took January to write it. So I know I can do it. Even though I do have a day job, and this year is going to be a crazy busy year, I'm fully confident in what I can do to get all 30 books out. And I have this goal, 30 by 30, it sounds catchy, but I know I know it's possible. I write until I fall asleep. I squeeze every moment out of the day. Like, people say, oh, I want to be a writer, and they plan to do it when their kids grow up, or when they retire, or when they finish school, or so on. If you want to be a writer, you just got to make the time for it. When I wrote, I believe, Super Kid, I was working at Target, and I had to get up at 4 in the morning. No, I had to be there at 4 in the morning to unload the truck and stock the shelves. And I would still go in my room and I'd write till I'd pass out. And there's documented evidence, thanks sisters, that prove that, I fall asleep with my fingers actually on the keys. And some people would like try to take my computer, and then I'd like kind of wake up and look at them. So they didn't try to take it too often from me. But I just like had a symbiotic relationship with my laptop, actually. And I loved it. And I just wrote so much on it all the time. And when I would take I had other stuff going on. I was like the slave chauffeur of the family for a long while. And I remember I had to take my mom to the grocery store, or she'd spend forever at the dollar store. Like, I'd park in the 15-minute spot to be optimistic, but it just didn't happen ever, really. And I would take my laptop, even though at the time it had a really, really bad battery life, but I would sit in the car and I would just, write. And I was so glad when I could get Microsoft Office on my phone. And when I worked at Micro Center, people would come in the break room and laugh at me because I'd have this pretty sizable Bluetooth keyboard. Now, it wasn't even like the size of a normal keyboard, but it was notably bigger than the phone. So it just looked odd. But I would just, be typing my book on my 15-minute break, on my hour lunch. I would work on it. I would do what I had to do to pop something out, get all my thoughts down on the page. So writing is what consumes me. I love to do it. I started writing my first novel when I was 18, after I couldn't afford to go back to school, because I went to a really expensive art school, and I just didn't, I thought things would work out financially, and it didn't. So I got a job painting a mural over a church baptismal, and I didn't end up making enough to do the tuition, but I did go ahead and buy my first laptop, and I started writing my first novel after I heard reports on Stephanie Meyer and her success with Twilight, and J.K. Rowling with her success with Harry Potter, and I picked up Twilight and I read it, and I just was like, what, I can do this. I can do this. So with that, focus and determination, I wrote my first novel in 6 months, and it was my baby, and I was addicted, and I wrote the sequel to that, and I wrote the sequel to that, and then I finally was like, I should write something else, and I was querying people, and I got a lot of great feedback from professionals in the industry. Like, I remember Jenny Bent, who worked for, at the time it was Trident Media Group, I believe, and I queried her when she first started the Bent agency too, and I queried her superficial, and she said, it's not quite for me, but when you get this published, you will find great success with it. And so even though I got rejected, I mean, I can respect the relationship that a agent has to have with a project. So I can respect that it wasn't for her or for the people who, said it wasn't quite right for them. It was still very encouraging that when it hits, the shelves and goes out there to the public, that I should find great success for it. And so that's the reason why I haven't put it out yet, is just because it's my baby, and it's so, close to my heart. So when it was time to publish, my dad and my oldest sister were trying to talk me into it, and I was just kind of so nervous and scared about it, because I just didn't want to fail, and I didn't want to fall flat on my face, and I just didn't think I'd take the heartbreak of it not being successful. And my dad had published some spiritual books and stuff, and he had some a lot of people bought it, and usually, especially when he like church hops and stuff, but to preach. But I just remembered so many books being in the garage and stuff, and it just wasn't the critical success that maybe he was expecting. But I didn't even do a lot of research at the time on print on demand and how things are now. It's so easy to put something on Kindle. I just didn't know about those things at the time, and I was just had such fear of disappointment in my heart about it, and I just had to come to terms with it. And I was in the kitchen, I remember standing above the island, and I cried a few last tears, and I guess got it together and said, okay, let's do this. So I do all my own illustrations and all my own book covers, everything that is, I designed it myself. And so I put everything together, and I published my first book. And then I knew the process, I knew what to do. I mean, I still queried a couple things, but I was pretty much ready to go and do this on my own. And I've had such a blast going to different conventions and meeting people and having people that read my work and appreciate it and say, oh my gosh, I loved it so much, I can't wait for the sequel, and then they love the sequel, and it was just, it's such an incredible feeling to meet people who really appreciate what you're doing. And cause it's like I have all these stories and people that are trapped in my head, and their voice deserves to be heard. And when I communicate that and someone listens and they, I guess they jive with it, it's such an incredible feeling. So I truly love to write, and it's my passion, and I know I can meet my goal of 30 books. And I would love, my dream 30th party is to have, family and friends there, of course, but I would love to have some of, I guess, my loyal, dedicated fans there too. And because they make me happy. They make me so happy just to feel, like I said, that you appreciate these stories that I've told, that I felt compelled to tell. And I love to give back as much as that feeling gives to me. So that would be my ideal party. Because I know I can meet my goal. I don't know if everything's literally going to be published, 30 novels by then, or if it's just going to be completion. If a lot of them are short, books, I believe I could even go past my goal. I know life and things get to, come up, and hopefully there are big changes for me in the next couple of years with, maybe meeting a guy and getting married and having, a family of my own and stuff. And, things change. But my love of writing will not, in its dedication to this goal. So thank you for being here and listening to my story and wanting to be a part of it. And I'm going to update this weekly, just saying where I am, where I'm going with this. And I'll also have, other posts where I talk about my favorite TV shows, couples, and pop culture, and other stuff with books and publishing, and thoughts on authors, and just in my updates and other things too. So please, subscribe or like me on Facebook, social media, Instagram. If you go to www.ninjadustpublishing.com, you will see all the tags for social media where you can connect. And if you're really interested in my story and what I'm doing, then join. Go to ninjadustpublishing.com and check out the Shadow League and how you can be a part of it. It's going to be really fantastic, and I would love to have you on. And I'm just so excited for this 2016 year and the years to follow. So much is going to get done, and I'm just ready to rock and roll. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And 30 by 30, we're going to do it.